Now, the first game of the first leg of the semi-finals in the EFL Cup is Chelsea versus Tottenham. Bit of a London derby, this one, and to be honest, I'm not sure who's going to win. When I was watching Chelsea yesterday, their tempo, their work rate was magnificent, especially against a side like Liverpool, who are used to dominating against all teams. But Liverpool, they just were non-existent. Chelsea were absolutely dominating them, and they should have been winning at half-time. They should have won. So the problem I have with Chelsea at the moment is they know how to dominate a game, they know how to tackle, they know how to pass, they play in really good areas of the field, but the problem is they don't have the attackers right now to finish their chances off. There were 3 really good chances in the first 20 minutes, which I think even a team like maybe Crystal Palace would finish off all of them. But Pulisic, his decision making was not good enough. Havertz was really non-existent in creating chances, even finishing them off when he was in the opposition's box. And that's why they definitely need Lukaku for this game. He's big, he's strong, he can push defenders out of the way, so physicality is not an option. And if a midfielder who knows how to pass, maybe a Kovacic or Kante, just lays it off to him, 9 out of 10 times, that's going in. Tottenham do play a bit like Chelsea recently when Conte's came in, because they're doing a 5 at the back system, and players like Regulion are getting something out of this. They're a very fast-paced side that, again, play in really good areas of the pitch, and their positioning really will sort of, it will be a challenge for Chelsea, because you don't know who they're going to pass to because there's so many options. That's a real strength of Tottenham. One player I do really like at the moment is Oliver Twist. I forgot his name. Oliver Skip. He's a defensive midfielder who can play in a bit more of a higher role. He can even play in attacking midfield. And defensively, he is class. Passing, he's really class. Like, what I've seen from him in the Premier League is really, really good. And I think if he plays, then Tottenham are actually able to dominate Chelsea. I could definitely see that happening. But at the end of the day, there can only be one winner. Actually, unless they do draw it. But for me, do you know what? I'm going to say 1-1. I just think right now, Chelsea, as I just said, they don't have the attackers to dominate. And I just have a feeling like Lukaku, he might make the bench, but I don't think he'll play. Havertz won't be able to score. Pulisic and Mount might, but it's up to whether they get a lot of chances. Tottenham are really, really good at dominating areas, and that's why I think they'll get a couple chances in the game, and that's why I think they'll also score. But right now, I think up against a Chelsea defence that has Rudiger, even the fact that they don't have, 2 great players in the side like Chilwell and James, Azpilicueta and Alonso did exceptionally well, and I feel like that's going to be a big problem if players like Kane, Sonny, I feel like Lucas Moura, they're not in form. That's going to be a big problem. Also, Tottenham, they have a lot of mistakes in them, so they've got to make sure their defence are on their toes. Into the last game of the semi-finals, the first leg, and it's Arsenal versus Liverpool. Now, this is always going to be a good game. We've seen Arsenal come up against Liverpool a couple times, and usually it's Liverpool the side that's dominating. But right now, Liverpool's midfield looks non-existent, and I'm not just saying that. Tottenham, when they played them, they looked non-existent. The West Ham game, non-existent. I think that the players right now who are playing just aren't good enough. For Arsenal, it's completely opposite. They have a problem, but that's in striker. The midfield's perfect for them. They usually lay it off to the wingers who usually cut inside. That's why Smith Rowe's been put on the left side, because although he's an attacking midfielder who likes to play centrally, he's able to cut inside, maybe get a couple chances, get a couple shots off, and that's why he gets so many goal involvements. But getting past the defence with Van Dijk, maybe Joel Matip, even Konate, they look decent. It's going to be a very tough challenge for Arsenal. I was watching Sky Sports, and Jamie Carragher put a great mention in, and that was the fact that Liverpool, they have two centre-backs, but they're not able to cover. So if you get past one, most likely you're going to get a chance off. And the reason for that is because they play such a deep line. They're playing such a deep line, so usually it's one-on-one, and that's why the defenders usually end up chasing the Arsenal attackers. So basically what I mean from this is the Arsenal attackers, if they manage to cut inside, then most likely they're going to have an open area where they'll be able to get a shot off. Liverpool, they're able to score. I mean, look, they got dominated by Chelsea, but they still managed to get 2 goals. And the reason for that is because they have clinically perfect attackers. Even Sadio Mane, you know, he's got 10 goals this season. But when you actually look at the way he plays, he's a mediocre attacker. It's because clinically and his decision making are superb. Mohamed Salah is of course going to be a worry. Over the last couple of games, he hasn't been in it so much. But when he gets the ball, he looks like prime Eden Hazard. Your defenders are going to have to be on point for this game. Honestly, I could actually see Arsenal dominating against Liverpool, because Liverpool, I feel like sometimes they underestimate teams, and especially in the EFL or Carabao Cup or whatever people call it, they go for some weird choices in the starting 11, especially deep on into the trophy. I definitely could see them picking maybe like a Takumi Minamino, because he's got 4 goals this season in the EFL Cup, you know, players like that. And I think that's really going to be a bad decision, because Arsenal, I can just tell, I think they're going to put out their strong lineup. It's going to be a clash, it's going to be a fight, and that's what I'm saying, for both teams to get over 2 goals. Don't worry, I'm not going to be a buzzkill and say for both games to be draws, and I'm actually going to say for Arsenal to win 3-2. I definitely think Salah will be able to get a goal for Liverpool, and I definitely think Mane will be able to get a goal. I'm going to say for them to be the goal scorers again. I just feel like players like Smith Rowe, with their heads, they'll just be able to outsmart the Liverpool defence. I just have a feeling.